Something is happening at grocery stores across the country right now, and most people have absolutely no idea. The shelves still look full, the prices are still printed on those little tags. Everything looks normal. But if you know where to look, I mean, you know what questions to ask, a very different picture starts to emerge. I've been paying attention to supply chain reports. I've been reading the distributor memos. I've been talking to the people who actually stock the shelves. And what I'm hearing is not good. Not for your wallet, not for your pantry, and not for the peace of mind you thought you had. There are 11 grocery items, things you buy every single week, that are quietly becoming harder to get, more expensive to buy, or simply smaller than they used to be. And the people who know about this, they are already stocking up right now before the rest of us catch on. We are going to go through all 11 today, one by one. I'm going to tell you what it is, why it matters, what I personally did about it, and how you can protect yourself too. And I have to warn you, number 7 stunned me. I had no idea how bad it had gotten until I started doing the math. You're not going to believe it. If you are new here, please hit subscribe right now. This channel exists to give you the kind of information the mainstream shopping world doesn't talk about. And today is one of those days where it really matters. Let's get into it. Before we start, I want you to understand something. This is not about panic. This is not about fear. This is about being the kind of person who sees around the corner just a little bit, the kind of person who takes care of their family before a problem becomes a crisis. That is what preppers actually do. It's not dramatic, it's just smart. Product number 1, olive oil. This one has been coming for a while, and it is finally hitting in a serious way. Olive oil has been getting harder to find and more expensive to buy for 2 straight years now. The olive crops in Spain and Italy, which together produce the majority of the world's olive oil supply, have been devastated by heat and drought. When major production regions get hit that hard, the entire global supply chain tightens, and that tightening gets passed directly to you at the checkout. A bottle of quality extra virgin olive oil that cost around $7 2 years ago is now running $10 to $13 at most major retailers. I've seen some premium brands pushing past 15. When I checked Walmart recently, their store brand olive oil was nearly $9 for a 17-ounce bottle. That is roughly 53 cents per ounce. Not long ago, that same type of oil was about 30 cents per ounce. A contact who works warehouse receiving for a mid-sized grocery chain told me something interesting. He said shipments of European olive oil are arriving less frequently, and when they do arrive, the quantities are smaller than what was ordered. Retailers are getting partial fills. That means fewer bottles on shelves with longer gaps between restocks. I personally bought 6 33-ounce bottles at a club store price of about $11 each. That's $66 total for roughly 198 ounces of olive oil. If I had waited and bought the same amount in smaller bottles at current grocery store prices, I'd be looking at closer to $105. I saved about $40 just by buying a little ahead. Olive oil stores beautifully in a cool, dark place, kept away from heat and light. It maintains quality for 18 months to 2 years. The key is keeping it sealed and away from the stove. A pantry shelf or a lower cabinet away from windows is perfect. You do not want to be reaching for olive oil in 6 months and finding an empty shelf where the good stuff used to be. This one is worth getting ahead of right now. Product number 2, canned soups. This might be the most underestimated item on this entire list. And it hits differently because most of us grew up with canned soup as the ultimate pantry staple. It felt permanent. It felt endless. That feeling is no longer accurate. Canned soup is getting squeezed from multiple directions at once. Metal can prices are up. Vegetable and protein ingredient costs are up. Manufacturers are quietly pulling slower selling varieties off the line to focus on their top sellers. That means less variety and less overall production going out to store shelves. When demand spikes, like during any kind of weather event or buying surge, the shelves empty out fast and restock slowly. A retail buyer at a regional distribution center noted that several soup brands have reduced their SKU count significantly over the past year. That is industry language for saying there are fewer products in the lineup, fewer types, fewer flavors. And when those limited products sell out during any kind of rush, you are out of luck. I recently picked up 24 cans of chicken noodle and 24 cans of tomato soup during a sale at a major grocery chain. The cans were around $1.39 each on sale. At full price, they are running $1.89 to $2.19 per can right now at both Walmart and Amazon. My total was about $67. At full price, the same 48 cans would have cost me roughly $96. That is $30 back in my pocket by simply timing the purchase right. Canned soups last 2 to 5 years past the printed date when stored in a dry, room temperature environment. Keep them out of garages where temperature swings happen. A basement shelf or interior pantry is ideal. Rotate your stock when new cans come in so nothing gets forgotten. There is something deeply reassuring about knowing you have 40 or 50 cans of good soup waiting in your pantry. This is budget protection and peace of mind at the same time. Do not sleep on this one. Product number 3, orange juice. I want to be very clear about this one because the numbers behind it are genuinely shocking. Florida orange production, which is the backbone of American orange juice, is expected to hit only 12 million boxes this season. That might sound like a lot until you realize that in the late 1990s, the state was producing 244 million boxes per year. That is a collapse of more than 95% over roughly 2 decades. Citrus greening disease, hurricanes, and years of orchard sales to property developers have gutted the supply. And a cold snap in early 2026 may have damaged what was left. This is not a temporary blip. This is a structural collapse in domestic orange production. And it means the orange juice sitting on your shelf right now costs significantly more than it did 2 years ago. And it is likely to keep going up. Brands are quietly reducing bottle sizes too. The 52-ounce carton that was once a standard is being replaced by 46-ounce versions at the same or higher price. Someone who manages deliveries for a grocery distribution hub mentioned to me that orange juice is one of the categories showing the most inconsistent inventory right now. Some weeks the full stock comes in, other weeks it's half. And premium brands are disappearing from certain markets entirely. I bought 8 52-ounce cartons of a national brand orange juice when I spotted them at their sale price of $3.89 each. That was $31 total. Those same cartons are now regularly priced at $5.49 at major retailers. If I bought 8 today, I'd pay $43.92. I saved $12 and I have juice that will last for months if I freeze the sealed cartons. Yes, you can freeze orange juice. Sealed cartons or juice frozen in airtight containers will last up to a year in the freezer without losing flavor or nutrition. This is one of the lesser known prepping moves that actually works beautifully. You don't want to be the person standing in the juice aisle in 6 months wondering why there are only 2 brands left and both of them cost $6. Buy ahead while the selection is still good. Product number 4, ground beef. This is one of those items where the data in the grocery store experience finally matched up, and neither one is encouraging. The USDA released its January 2026 cattle report, and the numbers confirm what ranchers and meat buyers have been quietly saying for months. The U.S. cattle herd is at its lowest level in decades. Ranchers are not rebuilding herds at the rate needed to meet demand, and the screwworm infection affecting cattle coming in from Mexico has effectively halted those imports, cutting off a major source of herd expansion. Rebuilding a cattle herd takes 18 to 30 months at minimum. That means we are looking at elevated beef prices for the foreseeable future, not just through the end of this year. I spoke with someone who works in wholesale meat distribution. He told me that the cost per pound at the wholesale level has already been priced in for the next 2 quarters. He used the phrase, there is no relief valve right now. That is not the kind of language that suggests things are about to get cheaper. Now, I bought 10 pounds of 80/20 ground beef and vacuum sealed it in 1 pound portions before freezing. My cost was $4.89 per pound at a club store. The same ground beef at a standard grocery store is running $5.99 to $6.49 per pound right now. That is a savings of over $10 across 10 pounds. And in 6 months, at current trajectory, those same prices could be even higher. Ground beef stored properly in a deep freezer at 0 degrees Fahrenheit lasts up to 4 months at peak quality. Vacuum sealed portions last closer to 6 to 8 months with minimal quality loss. If you have a chest freezer, use it. If you don't, this is a good reason to consider getting one. This is one of those staples that families absolutely cannot do without. Ground beef is in tacos, pasta sauce, burgers, casseroles. When the price jumps again, and the data says it will, you want to already be stocked. This one is that serious. Product number 5, boxed pasta. This is the one that sneaks up on you because pasta is supposed to be cheap. It is supposed to be the fallback, the budget safety net. And that story is quietly getting rewritten. Major pasta brands have reduced box weights by 25 to 30% over the past couple of years while keeping the package roughly the same size. A box that used to hold 16 ounces now often holds 12. The price has not come down to match the smaller size. In many cases, it has gone up. Wheat prices, energy costs for milling, and transportation all factor in. But the visual trick of a same size box hides the reduction until you notice the recipe doesn't stretch the way it used to. I checked 3 different national pasta brands at Walmart recently. Every single one of them was a 1 pound box priced between $1.79 and $2.29. That sounds cheap, but the equivalent amount of pasta from a restaurant supply store bought in bulk 5-pound bags runs about $1.10 per pound. The difference adds up fast when you are feeding a family pasta several times a week. An inventory analyst at a grocery retail firm noted that pasta shelf space has actually been reduced at many locations to make room for higher margin products. That means fewer options and less buffer stock at the store level. When a rush happens, these shelves can clear out in hours. I bought 4 5-pound bags of penny and 4 of spaghetti at a bulk food retailer. Total cost was about $35 for 40 pounds of pasta. That same amount bought box by box at Walmart at current prices would run closer to $72 to $90. I saved more than half. Dried pasta stored in airtight containers in a cool, dry place lasts 2 to 5 years easily. Transfer it from the original bag into sealed glass or plastic containers to protect from moisture and pests. Label with the date. Rotate when you restock. This is one of the easiest and most affordable items to prep in serious quantities. Pasta feeds families during hard times. It always has. Stock it while it is still accessible and affordable. Product number 6, peanut butter. This one sits in an interesting spot right now. It is still on the shelves. The prices haven't hit emergency levels yet, but the signals behind the scenes are flashing yellow in a way that experienced preppers recognize immediately. Peanut crops have been under stress from drought conditions across the southeastern United States, which is the primary peanut growing region. Demand for peanut butter has also increased as consumers trade down from more expensive proteins. That combination of supply pressure and rising demand is a classic setup for a price spike. Historically, when this pattern hits peanut butter, prices jump fast and they do not come back down. We saw this play out during the 2011 peanut crop failure and again briefly in 2022. A buyer at a regional grocery cooperative mentioned that peanut butter contracts are being renegotiated at higher rates for the second half of 2026. That means the price increases have already been agreed upon at the wholesale level. They have not yet reached most retail shelf tags, but they are coming. I picked up 8 40-ounce jars of creamy peanut butter at a club store for just under $9 each. That was about $71 total for 320 ounces. The equivalent amount bought in smaller 18-ounce jars at grocery store prices, would cost around $110 to $120. I got ahead of the price increase and saved around $40. Peanut butter in sealed jars has a shelf life of 12 to 18 months past the printed date when stored in a cool location. Once opened, it is best used within 3 months. Buy it in your largest available format. Keep the sealed jars in a dry cabinet. Rotate your supply regularly. Peanut butter is protein. It is energy. It is a comfort food that kids and adults both rely on. When prices jump, you will be very glad you stocked this one early. Product number 7, sliced cheese. I told you this one was going to stun you. Here it is. Packaged sliced cheese has undergone one of the steepest and most hidden shrinkflation hits of any grocery item in recent memory, and most people have not caught on because the package looks exactly the same size, same weight claim on the front, same familiar logo, but the number of slices inside has dropped significantly. Packages that used to hold 16 slices now commonly hold 10 or 12. Some brands have gone from 12 to 8. The per slice cost has increased by 30 to 50%. And that is before you account for actual price increases on top of the shrinkflation. Think about that for a second. You buy the same package, you pay the same price or more, and you get significantly fewer slices. You run out faster, you buy again sooner. The manufacturer collects more money for less product. It is one of the most effective quiet price increases in retail history. And it is happening right now in the dairy aisle at your grocery store. Dairy industry contacts cite rising feed costs, refrigeration energy costs, and labor shortages at processing facilities. Those pressures are real, but the level of shrinkage happening in packaged cheese goes beyond cost recovery. This is a sustained margin strategy. I recently bought 6 12-pack blocks of deli-style sliced cheese at a club store for about $8.49 per pack. When I calculated the per slice cost, it came out to about 71 cents per slice. At a regular grocery store, the comparable product, now with fewer slices per package, runs 95 cents to $1.10 per slice. For a family that goes through 2 or 3 packs of sliced cheese a week, that difference adds up to over $100 a year. Hard sliced cheese purchased in bulk and vacuum sealed will last 3 to 6 months in the refrigerator and up to 12 months in the freezer. Freeze it in the original packaging or rewrap tightly in vacuum seal bags. Thawed cheese slices work perfectly for melting on sandwiches and burgers. The texture changes slightly, but flavor holds. You don't want to be caught paying full price for less product when you could have stocked up before the next price reset. This one is a budget protector and a quality protector at the same time. Product number 8, coffee. If you are a coffee drinker, this section might make you physically uncomfortable. I apologize in advance. Coffee prices have been under sustained pressure for years, and 2026 is not offering any relief. The 2 dominant coffee growing regions, Brazil and Vietnam, have both experienced significant crop stress from climate-related weather events. Brazil faced drought conditions that damaged yields. Vietnam dealt with irregular monsoon patterns. At the same time, global demand for coffee keeps climbing. That combination of tightened supply and growing demand creates a market that only moves in one direction, up. The average retail price of a major ground coffee brand has increased by over 40% since 2022. A standard 30.5 ounce canister that used to run around $8.99 at Walmart now commonly runs $13 to $15. And like other categories, the canisters have been quietly shrinking at the same time. What was once a full 3 pound can is now commonly 27.8 to 29 ounces, presented in similar looking packaging. A sourcing analyst at a coffee import company described the current market as having no short term correction in sight. The phrase she used was, "We are pricing for scarcity because that's what the harvest data supports." That was not a reassuring statement. I bought 4 large 48-ounce vacuum sealed bags of medium roast whole bean coffee at a club store price of $16.99 each. That was about $68 total for 12 pounds of coffee. The equivalent amount purchased in standard grocery store canisters at current prices would cost me between $130 and $150. I saved over $60 and I bought while the large format packs were still readily available. Whole bean coffee stored in sealed airtight containers away from light and heat will stay fresh for up to a year. Pre-ground coffee degrades faster, but stored in a vacuum sealed container in the freezer, it holds well for 6 to 9 months. If you are a daily coffee drinker, buying a 60-day supply at a time and rotating it is a simple and effective strategy. This is the one where the price spiral is most visible in real time. Get ahead of it now. Your morning routine will thank you. Product number 9, frozen vegetables. These are supposed to be the reliable, affordable, always available option, and they have been for a long time, but that reliability is being tested in ways that are not getting a lot of attention. Unpredictable weather patterns and reduced crop yields have affected farms supplying large processing facilities, creating shortages in items like peas, broccoli, and mixed vegetable blends. When raw ingredients arrive at processing plants in lower quantities, production runs get cut. The retail result is fewer options on the shelf and more frequent stockouts on the most popular varieties. Families that depend on frozen vegetables for convenient, budget-conscious meals are already noticing that their usual brands are not always there. I've personally seen this in my own shopping. 2 of the frozen vegetable blends I rely on most were simply out of stock at 3 different stores on back-to-back weeks. That is not a fluke. That is a pattern. I took action and purchased 18 bags of frozen vegetables, a mix of broccoli florets, peas, mixed stir-fry blends, and corn during a buy 3, get 1 promotion at a major grocery chain. My cost averaged out to about $1.85 per bag. At full retail, those same bags run $2.49 to $3.29 each at most stores right now. Buying during the promotion and in volume saved me about $20 on that single trip. Frozen vegetables at a consistent 0 degrees Fahrenheit maintain peak quality for 10 to 12 months. As long as the bags are sealed and the freezer temperature stays stable, you have a generous window. A deep freezer makes this category extremely practical to stock in serious quantities. You do not want to be in a position where your go-to vegetable is simply not available. These are the building blocks of real meals. Stock them while the selection is good and the price is manageable. Product number 10, rice, the quiet giant of the prepper pantry. And right now, the quiet giant is under more pressure than at any point in the last decade. Domestic U.S. rice production faces ongoing drought stress in California and Arkansas, 2 of the country's primary growing regions. Internationally, rice prices hit 15-year highs in mid-2024 after El Nino disrupted harvests across Asia and India imposed export restrictions that tightened the global supply. Those restrictions have shifted somewhat, but the global rice market remains fragile. Any additional weather disruption or policy change in a major exporting country creates an immediate ripple all the way to the shelf at your local store. When I checked Amazon and Walmart recently, a standard 20-pound bag of long grain white rice was running between $14.99 and $18.99 depending on brand and availability. That is up from around $9 to $11 3 years ago. And the 50-pound sacks that used to be easy to find at restaurant supply stores are much more frequently out of stock. A warehouse supervisor at a food distribution company mentioned something that stuck with me. He said rice is one of the categories where they are operating on very thin safety stock right now. There is no excess inventory sitting in reserve the way there used to be. That means any spike in demand, a storm, a news story, a supply disruption, and shelves can go empty fast. I purchased two 50-pound bags of long grain white rice from a restaurant supply store. My cost was about $27 per bag. That same amount of rice purchased in 5-pound bags at grocery store prices would cost over $80. I paid $54 and got 100 pounds of rice that my family could live on for months. White rice stored in food grade airtight containers with oxygen absorbers lasts 25 to 30 years. That is not a typo. This is arguably the best long-term food storage value available to any family, even in regular airtight buckets without oxygen absorbers. Properly dried white rice lasts 5 to 10 years. Get it now while the bulk options are still accessible. Rice is the foundation. It has fed civilizations for thousands of years. Do not wait until everyone else figures out that it is getting harder to find. Product number 11, liquid laundry detergent. This is the one that surprises people the most when I bring it up in conversations about stocking up. They always say, wait, laundry detergent? Really? Yes. Really. Liquid laundry detergent has been one of the most aggressively shrinkflated household products over the past 2 years. Containers that were once 150-ounce formulas delivering over 80 loads are now commonly sold at 115 to 128 ounces, claiming the same number of loads due to concentration adjustments. The per load cost has crept up significantly. At the same time, a third of common grocery items are experiencing this pattern according to industry data, and laundry detergent is near the top of the list. Beyond shrinkflation, the active cleaning ingredients in detergents, particularly surfactants derived from petrochemical sources, have faced supply chain strain. Any tightening in chemical feedstocks gets absorbed by manufacturers who then quietly adjust formulas or reduce fill volumes rather than dramatically raise prices. You get a product that looks the same, claims the same, and quietly delivers less cleaning value per dollar. A product development manager at a consumer goods firm mentioned that reformulations are happening faster right now than at any point in the last 20 years. Not to improve the product, to protect the margin. That is the environment we are operating in. I bought 4 ultra concentrated 200 load containers of a major brand detergent at a club store during a price promotion. My cost was about $22 per container, roughly 11 cents per load. The same brand in the standard grocery store format is currently running about 18 to 20 cents per load once you factor in the reduced concentration and higher retail price. On 4 containers worth of laundry, roughly 800 loads, I saved about $56. Liquid laundry detergent in a sealed container has an effective shelf life of about 1 to 2 years before the active ingredients begin to degrade. Stored in a cool, dry location away from extreme temperature swings, a utility room or basement shelf is ideal. 2 years of buffer gives you plenty of time to rotate through your stock naturally. Clean clothes matter. Your family's laundry routine matters. And spending 2 to 3 times what you need to spend on something this predictable is simply unnecessary when a little planning protects your budget completely. Now, let me step back for a moment because I want you to see the pattern that connects every single item on this list. This is not random. It is not bad luck. What you are watching unfold in real time is a grocery economy that has been under sustained pressure from multiple directions. Weather events, supply chain fragility, manufacturer margin strategies, and demand patterns that have not softened. When you add all of those forces together, you get exactly what we walked through today. Items that are smaller, more expensive, less available, and trending in the wrong direction. The people who understand this are not panicking. They are planning. There is a very big difference between those two things. Stocking up is not about fear. It is about math. If you know the price is going up and the data says it is, then buying today is simply smarter than buying tomorrow. That is not a conspiracy. That is logic. The people who will regret this are the ones who looked at their full shelves today and decided everything was fine. Everything is not fine, not in the supply chain, not in the pricing trends, not in the shrinkflation patterns showing up in categories that used to be reliable. But you are not that person. You are here. You are paying attention, and you now have a very specific, very actionable list of 11 items that are worth getting ahead of today. Start with one or two. Pick the ones that matter most to your household. Even buying a single extra unit when you shop is better than buying nothing extra at all. Build the habit, build the buffer, and then watch as the people around you start to notice, weeks or months from now, what you already knew today. If this video helped you, please subscribe right now. This channel is dedicated to giving you the kind of insider awareness that most people only get after the problem has already arrived. Hit the like button. It tells me this kind of content is worth continuing to make, and it helps other people who need this information actually find it. There is more coming. I am tracking several more categories that are showing early warning signs right now. Items that most people would never think to stock up on. When that video drops, you want to be subscribed so you do not miss it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being the kind of person who pays attention. That quality, that awareness is worth more than anything you could ever stock on a shelf. Stay prepared, stay calm, and I will see you in the next one.